I think we're on, man. You're going to do this incendiary topic. Very incendiary, very controversial. But here's what I want to talk about today. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a theory about watch addiction. I believe that we don't buy watches when we are our normal selves. I think we become something beastly, something unhinged. I call it Wolfman addiction theory. Let me explain to you. Let me explain the theory to you. So listen to this, ladies and gentlemen. All my life, I wanted to be alone. I wanted to live alone. But I didn't live alone until I was 27 years old. Up till I was 24, I lived with my mom. I went to grad school between the age of 24 and 27. And had roommates at that time. And never really liked living with people, even as a little kid. I always wanted to be alone. So at the age of 27, I got a job in the California desert teaching full-time college writing at a university. I'm in the desert, and I'm finally living alone. Oh, I love it, man. You should have seen this apartment. It was called the Springs Apartment Complex for $400 and $50 a month, $450 a month. Vaulted ceilings, luxury apartment. I live walking distance to the pool, to the hot tub. I have cable TV. And I just loved it. I loved living at the Springs Apartment Complex, especially in the beginning, because I'd never lived alone before. And I would walk around my apartment in my pajamas, and I would watch the Angels games. They were announced by Reggie Jackson and Joe Torre. Oh, I love those voices. Yes. And then I don't know why I would watch this infomercial by this lady. I think she was crazy. Her name was Susan Powder. Stop the insanity! Stop the... That's all I heard her say. So I don't know why I would watch her. I think she was boiling lentils and talking about losing weight. I don't know. Susan Powder. This is like 1989, mind you. And after a while, though, I think I started to become crazy and delusional. Let me explain to you. Being alone. I had a neighbor. He lived above me. His name was Mark. He was a nice guy. Mark was in his early 20s. I was 27. Mark was from Georgia. I knew Mark a little bit because he was one of my writing students. And I think I lost my mind because I started to believe, perhaps erroneously, that Mark was imitating me, that he was copying my lifestyle. For example, I would flush the toilet, and then like 10 seconds later, I would hear him flush the toilet. And I thought, that's kind of weird. Then I would take a shower, and then about 20, 30 seconds later, I'd hear him take a shower. Because, the walls are thin, you can hear what's going on. I went, is this dude copying me? Is he like, does he have a life of his own? What's going on? And so I started trying to test my theory. I would make a smoothie in the blender. And sure enough, a minute later, he's making a smoothie in the blender. This is disgusting. He's copying what I'm doing. And then I would vacuum my living room just to make sure I'm not crazy. And sure enough, he's vacuuming his living room. And I'm thinking, this should be against the law. I would turn on the TV and watch football. He's watching the same football game. This really had to be against the law. And to this day, this is many years ago. This is like 38 years ago. I don't know, 37 years ago. I don't know. Was he imitating my amazing lifestyle? Or had I gone crazy? Had I lost my mind? The answer is probably the latter, and here's why. I'd probably lost my mind. In 1999, I was dating my girlfriend, Carrie. I'm married to her now. We're married. And she said something to me about when we were dating. She would come over and visit me from Long Beach. I lived in Redondo Beach, and she'd visit me at my condo. And she would say to me, you know what, man? It was kind of scary visiting you. I could tell you were a shut-in, and you were shuffling around the house all day. You were shuffling around the house, and you had this crazed look in your eye. And frankly, I was kind of scared of you. You looked like a wolfman. You looked like a wolfman. You were crazy. And I would talk to you, and we would visit, and gradually, kind of like when the full moon goes away and the wolfman becomes a human being, she said to me, gradually you would become this normal human being. But it took 3 hours. It took 3 hours for you to get that crazy wolfman visage off your face. And I started thinking about that. And I believe I have a theory that explains my watch addiction. I believe that I don't buy watches when I'm me, when I'm the true me, the human me. I believe if I look honestly at my watch addiction, I have bought all my watches in the unhinged state. You know, the fangs are coming out of my mouth. I've got fur growing all over me. My wolf muscles are bursting through my clothes. I'm in a state of beastliness when I pull that trigger, when I click that button, and I've got a $1,500 watch being airmailed to my house from Singapore. It's like I wake up the next morning, my clothes all torn. What'd I do? What'd I do last night? I'll tell you what you did. You bought a $1,500 watch. You may not need it. It may look like the other watches in your watch box. Oh. So, ladies and gentlemen, based on this theory, what I have to do, and maybe you can relate to this, I don't know. I have to make sure I don't become the wolfman. I have to look at wolfman triggers. I have to look at activities that can impede the wolfman from awakening inside of me. It's important that I eat 200 grams of protein a day because satiety will help me not become unhinged. I must work out for an hour a day with kettlebells because the dopamine buzz will help impede the wolfman from coming at me. I must not retreat into my bedroom and watch TV while my family's in the other rooms because being alone is a trigger. It's a wolfman trigger. I must be really careful about going on the internet and looking at YouTubers featuring all these delicious watches. It's a trigger. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any wolfman triggers? Do you think there's any truth to my wolfman theory? Have you ever become the wolfman? Have you noticed you have this duality? You are a normal human being, and then you're the wolfman. And when you buy your watches, you notice you were in the wolfman state. I might be onto something here. Let me know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, I'm out.